Well, hello there. Welcome back to Kenneth Boston Photography. Oh my gosh. Oh, it is cold outside, but it's sunshine, so I'm going to try to feel warm as I talk today. Hope you're doing okay. Don't forget, if you like my videos, hit that damn subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. My last video, I told you, the new photo book was out. Finally got everything figured out with my paperback file, and boom, it's up now. And it's just full of my favorite photos that I took while I was in China. It's not all bugs and cats and dogs and buildings and people, and just some of my favorite photos are in there. But I promised you, since photography is really slow right now and COVID's going like super damn crazy, my state of Arkansas had almost 10,000 cases yesterday. Stupid, ridiculous, guys. But I promised I would try to share some stories from the photo book, make you better acquainted with my thinking or whatever. But this first one, the very, very first photo in the book that you will see is this real pretty shot over a park and the reflections on the water. There's quite a story to that, and it happened really early in my my photography days there. By the time I had gotten to Chuzhou Anhui province, I was really into the photography aspect, and I was getting away from the tourist, where I take a picture of everything in the world like you do with your phone probably, and the subject's always right in the center and all these kind of things. And I was getting away from this tourist mentality, but I was a stranger in a strange land. I was trying to document everything that I saw, but it was also a great learning curve. The only way in the world that you can learn photography is taking pictures and editing pictures and keeping some data on the times and places that you visited, the weather conditions, your best shots, what shutter speed was it, f4, f8, or all these little things helps make you a photographer. It's more than just, oh, that's pretty, okay? And this picture in the book, at that time, I had just a couple lenses. I had my 18 to 55 kit lens. I think I had a 55 to 200, and I do not think I had my 70 to 300 zoom yet. I had my Nikon, had a D3300, 24 megapixel little camera. Took great pictures, great, fantastic pictures. And I don't know if I ever shot a bit of video with it, but Nikon, something about those cameras, Nikon's, you put it on vivid and you get all this really great resolution and stuff. It helps, and it takes just as good a picture as any camera I've owned since. But anyhow, I wasn't very well equipped, but I was serious, and every spare moment that I wasn't in the classroom teaching, which usually, I taught about 4 days a week. And usually I had lots of free time, and so as soon as I had a free moment, I was loaded up in a taxi or on my bicycle, usually in a taxi in Chuzhou, but I had lots of places to go shoot. I was at parks, right above my was Longyao Mountain, a famous mountain there with a waterfall and all this kind of stuff. It's just 20-minute walk from my house. My school that I taught at, right behind it was a big, beautiful lake, lots of walking, and it also came up to the foot of Longyao Mountain. So I had lots of parks, had lots of places to shoot, and there's a city lake, kind of on well, not downtown, but we have a city park lake called Nanhu, South Lake. And it was long and windy, and I walked up and down it so many hours. and taking photos, and usually several times a week. But in this particular photo that we're going to be talking about, I decided one day I was going to get up and I was going to shoot in a different place than I normally did. And so as the taxi was coming up close to the lake and the park, I was telling the taxi driver, I said, stop here, stop here. And he lets me off. Of course, I give him my money and everything. And something about this early spring morning, things were just starting to bud, the trees were just starting to bud out, but it was calm and still, and in the background it's still foggy, the early morning fog you'll be able to see in the picture, really kind of set a mood for this picture. And so instead of walking this path that I was going to walk, which was kind of reverse of my normal routine there, I decided, well, I'm going to go up over the bridge. I want to see what everything looks like. And I get up on the main bridge. Understand, this is a busy bridge. People are walking back and forth to work and running and walking their dogs and all this stuff. But I get up to where I'm right above where the picture is taken at, and I'm going, oh my God. It is, the water is calm. The reflection at that time in the morning, which about 9 o'clock, was coming directly towards me. And what it was like a little peninsula in the park, and it's got this real pretty building and these trees and everything. And as you'll see in the picture, just this immaculate reflection. And I go, I got to get this. I got to get this shot. This is the one. Remember, I'm still young in my photography career, so I hadn't done a lot of these kind of shots. But today I had my lenses, I had my tripod, I looked super professional, and all the people were staring at the white guy on the bridge. And so I stopped. I knew I had to get it. I set up my tripod, and I'm screwing the camera on, and to this day, I do not know what lens I used, but I'm guessing it was around 50 millimeters, so I could have been using either lens, but to this day, I cannot remember. But I set up, and I'm looking out over the park, and by then, I'm getting, understand, like I said, this is a really busy bridge, and there's only about 10 foot of sidewalk, or whatever, then you're out in the traffic. So here I am, I'm basically blocking half the sidewalk, getting set up, getting my camera out near the edge, and getting all focused and everything. By then, all these, the Chinese people they're looking at me, trying to figure out what am I doing, am I going to jump off the bridge or whatever. I can hear them walking behind me and going, Lao Wei, Lao Wei, Lao Wei, which is foreigner. And, my music, they're talking on my music. Let's skip that. There, let's go back. But anyhow, everybody's staring. And, which was cool. I'm used to it because people always walk around taking pictures of the foreigners anyhow, but they don't know exactly what I'm doing yet. But I get all focused in, click, click, and of course, as soon as I click, the picture comes up in my screen, and all these people that were hovering over me and breathing on me, and all of a sudden, they're doing like this, they're patting me on the back, and which made me feel good. Now they knew what I was doing, but I had a big crowd around me, they were all talking and watching. So I get a few more pictures, and bam, I get the one that we got in the book, and it was really, really pristine. And to this day, that photo kind of made a mark on my photography. I finally took a picture, landscape-ish, or whatever you want to call it, but something that made a difference, something that told a story. And as photographers, guys, when you get out of this tourist mode and whatnot, and you start really thinking about photography, what does your picture show? And that's really, really important. You need to, unless you're like, I'm doing some professional portraits or something, once you get past the basics, try to tell something with your photo. And this photo here was one of the first ones that I had done where I really, really thought I captured a story also. And the photo in the book is a copy that I had to take off of Facebook. There is no original file anymore. I lost all those pictures from those days right there because of USB corruption. So always back up your files. Don't let something get away from you that you're really proud of. But anyhow, when you see this picture, I'll have it in the background here when I get the video done. I want you to think about a foreigner, stranger in a strange land. He's got all this attention, and you're on the side of a really, really busy highway, high up on a bridge, and it's really noisy behind you, the traffic and the mopeds and all that. But that picture looks as serene, is the epitome of serenity. So that goes to show you the power of photography, because photography can take people that see your photos, and it takes them to a different time and place. It gives them a different thought, maybe a little bit different than what you saw. So, and that's the power of photography. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little story, and we'll do a couple more that's from the book that's pretty interesting, okay? But anyhow, don't forget to subscribe and think about these things when you see this video, okay? And we'll talk to you later. We'll say bye-bye. Bye.